Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. If you're new here, my name is Jody. I love great value watches. If you also love great value watches, then I would love it if you would subscribe to the channel by hitting the big button that says subscribe on it. The subject of today's video is not a great value watch. Now, I don't normally make this type of content, to be honest. It's a bit of a reaction video, specifically a negative reaction video. This week saw the launch of yet another brightly coloured, overpriced, plastic fantastic Swiss big brand cash grab, the Kith Heuer Formula 1. True to the original in terms of styling and coloration, but with a bizarre collaboration with a t-shirt brand I'd never heard of, with an unspecified quartz movement, and with a price tag of $1,500 US. So a 35mm plastic watch with a quartz movement for $1,500 US. They've got to be taking the Kith. Thank you very much. I'm here all week. Now, I am a lifelong Formula 1 fan and therefore an admirer of the watches, and I feel like I have been personally insulted by this collaboration. I ran a TAG F1 as my daily for years because of my love for the sport, but I would need a frontal lobotomy before I spent $1,500 US on one of these things, let me assure you. This could have been great, by the way, though. Why didn't TAG just re-release the watch without the completely unnecessary fashion brand tie-in in a couple of different sizes, no limited editions, and under $500 US? I would have bought one. And yet instead, here I am making a video telling you not to buy one. Now, if you watch motorsport, you know that if a driver crashes and it's their fault, they never take their helmet off because it helps hide their shame. Check the press shot for the Kith Heuer. Max Verstappen still has his helmet on to cover his shame. Shame on you, TAG. So I thought, just in case for some crazy reason you had been tempted, I would show you 6 watches today for $1,500 or less, often much less, that you would be much better off buying than the Kith Heuer. Let's start with the most obvious one. This is a reissue of a watch from the 1980s. There are plenty of those 1980s watches still available with identical specifications for about 20% of the cost. And I guess that's just the first underscoring of the craziness of this particular re-release. eBay is full of these TAG Heuer F1s from the late 1980s and the early 1990s. Now, considering they were in the main made from plastic, a lot of them look like they've seen a bit of life over the decades, probably because they have. So not only are you buying something that's authentic and original, but you're buying something that's had a life up until this point that would have stories to tell if watches were capable of telling stories, which, by the way, they aren't, just in case you are wondering. I'm not sure what this new release will do to the value of the old ones, whether the monetary and social value of these old tags will take a dip, or whether there will be a stampede to buy one in lieu of the lack of availability for the new ones. I guess we'll find out over the next couple of months or so. Either way, if you want the look, buy the original for a tiny fraction of the cost of the Kith. Moving on, what if your love of the sport is the primary driver of the purchase and you don't want to buy a tiny plastic watch from the 1980s? Well, unless you really want to buy a tiny plastic watch from the 2020s, you'd be much better off buying a proper TAG F1 instead. There are no shortage of these from grey market retailers such as JOMASHOP for far less than $1,500 US. Now, TAG gets a bit of a hard time because sometimes the quality isn't quite up there with other Swiss-made watches at the price, but I for one think these quartz Formula 1s are very solidly put together. For goodness sakes, for $1,500 you can even get a full-size quartz chronograph F1 on a metal bracelet. And if you just want the brand, if you just want the sporting connection, which I can totally understand, you can get a 3-hand quartz for under $1,250 or a 3-hand quartz on rubber for just over $1,000. Now, TAG are still very much front and centre in Formula 1 with Red Bull Racing these days. If you want to show your support for the team or your love for the sport, there are just so many other TAG Heuers that are infinitely better than the Kith for much less money. But what if the Formula 1, the sporting connection, wasn't the main driving force behind your purchase? What if you just wanted something fun and colourful instead? May I introduce you to a certain British microbrand called Farah. Farah offer a range of watches in vibrant modern colour palettes, but unlike the aforementioned plastic tiddlywink, they're made of high quality materials You know, like stainless steel and sapphire crystal, and contain automatic movements from big Swiss players like Solita. Have a look at this Aquamatic, for example, as bright and colourful and wearable as that certain limited edition, but you won't destroy it at the first sign of contact with a door handle. Plus, I think Farah have got quite a bit of cachet about them these days as well. They're definitely a brand that is really pushing the boundaries of design, really taking it to the big Swiss boys, and doing so with a certain confidence, a certain style, a certain swagger. It's not even close between this and the Kith in terms of quality, and the Aquamatic is available for well under $1,000 US. Sticking with small, wearable and colourful, but crossing the channel to continental Europe, why don't you consider a Nomos Club Campus? These are fantastic little watches, available in 38mm or 36mm, and in an ever-expanding range of colours like endless blue, non-stop red, electric green, deep pink, future orange, etc, etc, etc. They all feature an excellent in-house manual wind mechanical movement, sapphire crystal, 100 meters of water resistance, and because of the size and the colours, they also definitely have unisex appeal. Plus they're made in Germany and they hold their value like an old German car. They were designed to be an entry point into the world of, dare I say it, luxury watches, but to be honest, there isn't really any reason to go much beyond these. They are fantastic little things. Again, just day and night, and all available for well under 1,500 US. Alright, at number 5, it's the Morce Laqua Icon. Definitely a bit of an odd fish, this one, but I'm sure you will understand why it made my list. It's a three-handed quartz made of recycled plastic, available in a range of different colours to match your personality or your shoes or whatever it is you're trying to match. Now, I would not normally describe a $650 US watch made of recycled plastic as cheap, unless of course I was comparing it to something as ridiculously overpriced as the Kith Heuer. Seriously, even these things look fantastic value by comparison. If you want to have a bit of fun with a set and forget knockabout quartz watch and you have a bit of money to spend on it, I still think you'd be much better off with one of these, and I never thought I would ever say that. Really, I didn't. And just in case you needed me to underscore again just how overpriced these little tags are, the 6th and final alternative recommendation on my list today is the Moon Swatch. This is the only time I have ever recommended the Moon Swatch. They're terrible, but when compared to the Kith Heuer, they look like a sensible purchase. If you really want to get on board a hype train, albeit one that left the station some time ago, and get yourself a piece of overpriced plastic, knock yourself out. These are $260 US, so that's around $1,240 US less regret than you would get if you bought the Kith. There's red, there's blue, there's yellow, there's all kinds of colours there for you. I never ever thought I would be recommending the Moon Swatch to anyone, but that just goes to show how overpriced these tags are. Seriously, who is buying this stuff? Are people going to be queuing outside Kith stores overnight with camping equipment to spend $1,500 on a plastic tag? Parts of the watch world are seriously beginning to eat themselves. It's fascinating to watch, but if you don't mind, I won't be taking part in this particular exercise personally. So there you have it, well done for making it all the way to the end of the video. I do like a good old rant occasionally. If you want to see one of my others, click here or click here. I'll see you again in the next one.